Cool. Hi, mate. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Really well.
Nice to
One day, mate, when we do this, you can actually be on the couch with me
Yeah,
when we do this.
it would be nice, mate.
restrictions.
It would be nice when the world goes back to normal.
And hopefully we're not too far away from that, mate.
I think so.
You know, there's hopefully some light at the end of the tunnel there.
I feel a bit bad saying this, but it hasn't affected my life too much. With what I do, I work from home, and
Yeah.
I'm fairly solitary anyway as a bodybuilder, right? So actually, it hasn't affected me too much, which I feel guilty saying, but because I know some people are really struggling. But yeah, I mean, my life hasn't been turned upside down too much. Touch wood somewhere. Yeah, but I've been good, mate. I've been good.
I mean, we both have mutual friends. You know, a lot of mutual friends, and you know, a lot of those are in the event industry. And you know, I can't even begin to sort of understand or comprehend what they would have sort of been for over the last year. And it's great having that, you know, that little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. But I just can't imagine I can't even begin to imagine. You know, I'm so lucky and I'm so grateful that you know, I've got my day job, I've got the ship repair company, but then, you know, the coaching side of it. I mean, there's never been a time where more people need support and need coaching. I would have thought, I mean, have you seen a rise, you know, with your industry in terms of, you can see so many people now train from home. You know, the gyms are shut, there's not as much to do, you can't go out, you can't drink. So people are really, really, you know, behind the training at home. I think, is it Courtney Black, the girl from Essex? Like, her videos are just absolutely blown up because so many people get into home workouts. Yeah. I mean, I know you don't necessarily do that, but you seeing that from a coaching side?
Yeah. So the initial lockdown happened last March, and I'm not exaggerating numbers right now. I lost about 40% of my business overnight, like that. Wow. And in my mind, I thought, is this it? Like, is this how it ends for me? Like, I've been doing it for a long time now, but I thought this was it.
No way.
There was initial dip, and then over time, it's almost like people like adjusted to it and realized they had more free time. So they thought to themselves, like, you know, why not start something up? So there was an initial dip, but then things started to pick up. And actually, the most, like, in the last 2-3 weeks, I've had some of the busiest weeks of my whole career. So, like, yeah, it's peaks and troughs. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried at some points. However, things have been pretty good overall.
I think that's where the country or the world is sort of waking up. Do you think that's people actively trying to get ready for June, you know, coming into the summer? Do you find that, or do you not think there's any really correlation there?
Good question. So well, I've been doing this a long time now. I haven't actually seen that much correlation to things. So, for example, you would assume December would be quiet, right, because of Christmas and it's the winter. But I've had really busy Decembers, so it doesn't necessarily correlate. And I think just it's really hard for me to say. Everyone's got different scenarios and everything, but what I do think is that people have got more time. And what this has done, so I'm trying to see like a silver lining here. It's been a really shit time, a really testing time for a lot of people, but I think it's made people more conscious of certain things, and it's made people realize that it's not necessarily about the material things, and it's about looking after your health and looking after your mental health and looking after those around you. So to take a negative and put it into a positive, I think there has been some things that people have taken from this, you know?
Yeah, across the board, mate. Certainly. And I think, you know, gratitude is massive. I mean, it's something that I coach gratitude anyway, but you know, over Instagram, you were seeing these posts on people's stories, like 3 things people are grateful for.
Yeah.
And I just saw so many people get behind that, because it really did just wake people up to kind of like, you know, what happens if all this ended tomorrow for me? Or what happens if I was the same as Dave, three doors down, who's just lost his business and his house and everything along the way, you know? And do you know what? It's really interesting what you said just a minute ago about fear, and about when you thought this is it, you know, and I want to go into fear a little bit later and sort of pick your brains in the fact of how did you overcome that fear? Because there would have been a stage, Ryan, where I think you could have maybe, it was fight or flight for you, and you could have maybe been, do you know what, this is probably going to end it for me now. It's been a great 5 years, but I think I'm going to go back to bricklaying, you know, and I imagine that those thoughts probably crossed your mind at one stage.
Yeah, no doubt about it, mate. There's a lot of uncertainty, and I feel like there's nothing more humbling than something, you know, there'll be people who have got businesses and then they've got their mental health and they've got everything going for them, and then all of a sudden things are taken away, and it's incredibly humbling. And what's worse is that it can kind of happen to anyone. And I think that's made people a bit more, the lockdowns have made people a bit more aware of that. It's made me very, very appreciative of what I get to do. I created this business, and sometimes I take it for granted. And yeah, there's definitely been moments where I'm like, has it got legs? Is it COVID proof? You know, is it
yeah.
Will I survive this or not? And yeah, there's definitely been moments, but as I say, touch wood, things have generally been positive. There's just been a few hairy moments, but yeah, I think I do, like I say, I do think that people have started to view things a little bit differently, and it's not just so much about material possessions as it is about health, physical and mental.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. And what I really want to dial into today is, I mean, I know your story. You know, you and I have been friends for years. Too long, way too long. And there's stories that we definitely can't talk about on here. But what I do want to talk about is, you know, there'd be so many people watching this, either from my Instagram or from yours, and there'd be followers of yours who understand what you do and what your product is, but they don't necessarily know the journey that you went through to get where you are today. And I think that's a really, really important story. It's a story that I love. It's a story that I tell myself quite a lot, and it's a story that actually spurred me on to start my own online business. Because, you know, it wasn't too long ago, you and I went for a Nando's, didn't we? When things were a little bit more relaxed, we went for that Nando's. What I wasn't too sure about was putting myself out there to create a brand that sort of people could buy into, and I could be comfortable enough to sort of put my own thoughts out in the open. And I remember you giving me that pep talk and said, you know, mate, just stand by it and put it out there and do what you believe in. And so I think what would be really lovely is if you could give us sort of an insight into what the last 6 years has looked like for you. I know you're sort of 5 years into the business now, sort of spurred you to make that transition into where you are today, successful online coach.
Thank you, mate. Well, firstly, I'd just like to say thank you. That's really it's a massive compliment for you to say that. When we went for dinner, you said something along those lines, and it means a lot to me, mate. You know, you're one of my oldest friends, and I was just saying to Amy the other day, like, just to get a little bit emotional, but like, I would do anything for you, mate. Like, because we go back so long, and as much as we don't see each other that much, like, I fully support you and back you no matter what you do. I just want to let you know that anyway. But anyway,
thanks.
Yeah. So if there's anyone who knows the story, it's you. You were there. You were front row seats, and you were seeing me basically self-destruct over the years. You know, when you're growing up, we all have fun and we all like let loose, and it's all good. When you know, from 16 to maybe 22, 23, I think it's a bit of a rite of passage. I think everyone does it to a degree, right? But me, I carried on doing it and doing it and doing it, and I wasn't doing anything else with my life. And you and I had various conversations. Do you remember?
I do. Basically, I think I had various conversations with your mum as well about this. Yeah. You know, and your mum was like, "You've got to do something with Ryan, James."
It's funny. My mum came around yesterday, and we were talking about it, and like, there was various times where I had my mum in tears, just because of my poor attitude and my poor approach to everything. So anyway, yeah, we had various conversations, and you used to say to me, "Ryan, when are you going to switch on? Like, at what point does this end? You know?" And what I'm referring to is basically drink, drugs, and excess, but, you know, just not really taking anything seriously. And there was one constant in my life. It was going to the gym, but I never really saw that as anything other than a bit of fun. But it turns out I was quite good at it. I was quite strong, and I had like an okay physique. Well, you know, you did too. And I just thought to myself, like, is there any legs in that? Is there something in that? And I was always, if you remember as well, back in like 2015, I was always quite clued up on like the diet side of things, and I was always quite clued up on the training method.
Yeah.
But again, I didn't really see it as anything other than just whatever. And I was working in recruitment, and I really wasn't very good at it, and I didn't enjoy it. And I started competing myself. And when I started competing, I started getting interest, and people were saying, "How did you get in that shape? I would like to get in that shape myself." And I had a few through inquiries and stuff. Again, didn't think anything of it. Just literally just thought, okay, I'll help you out, and I'll help. You know, I was just helping people out for free. Then I started realizing people weren't taking it seriously, and I thought to myself, do you know what? If I put a price on it, if I just charge them a little bit of money, what that'll do is it'll create a bit more value to the product, so to speak.
Value. Yeah. Because I mean, you can massively undervalue your knowledge and what you can offer by not charging, or by charging too little, because suddenly people think, well, why is he not charging? Is there something wrong with him? You know, or is he not as good as the rest? You can really, it's a massive thing when you're starting out. And I think that's really important for those who are starting an online business, to not undervalue yourself. If you have the knowledge and you've done the research and you put the time and the effort in, and you're truly passionate about what you do, there is no reason why you can't put a price on it.
Couldn't agree more. And it's, you tread a fine line, don't you? Because charging too much, and you risk scaring people away when you haven't got the experience. But not charging, and as you just said, you don't, it's almost like you're not valuing yourself. And maybe at the moment, that's something that you're experiencing yourself. You want to know how to sort of price things up.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah.
But I mean, and I don't know if I'm necessarily qualified to tell other people how to do it. I can just say how I did it. So I started putting a bit of money on it. And before I knew it, I was like, I had about 10 people that were paying me every month. And I thought, okay. And I really enjoyed it, because it's obviously a subject that I really, really am incredibly passionate about. I wanted to be a bodybuilder from when I was a kid. And then 2016 hit. I'd done 3 shows by that point, and I'd done pretty well. And I was working in a business, and the owner said to me, "Why don't you quit this and just do that?" And I was like, I just don't, I'm not confident enough. And again, anyone who's starting up a new business will probably go through similar feelings and just think, I don't know. It's like, it's the unknown.
So we always refer to that, like that fear, and we talk about fear a lot. And I do, and you know, fear of rejection, fear of failure, you know, fear of not being good enough, you know, all those things, you know, fear of being inadequate, you know, all those things go through your head when you're starting out like this. And I guess, whilst we're just on that subject, I wouldn't mind just asking you, which of those fears did you think weighted on you the most?
It was a financial thing, and it was not valuing myself enough. So I thought that I would. Okay, no. It was this one. It was fear of embarrassment.
Or fear of change.
It was fear of embarrassment. It was fear of embarrassment. So there's me going, oh, I'm now doing this, and then it just falls flat on its ass, and then I'm like, oh shit.
I totally get that, mate.
Yeah. It's almost like you've got so much pride. You've got so much pride, and you don't want the people that you know to see you fail.
Yeah.
So,
mate, that's massive. Thank you for your honesty there, mate, because I think that is something that so many people struggle with, you know, and I think that really falls under the sort of the category of feeling inadequate, you know, because you would only think you're going to fail if you think you're not good enough, right? So I think that falls under that category. And I think, you know, myself, I've been through it, you know, and you think, Neil's starting a new business. All right, we'll see how long that one lasts. You know,
yeah.
We all go through it, mate.
Do you know what, mate? Do you know what? Everyone says, I don't care what other people think. Everyone says it. But the reality is, we all do. To an extent, we all care.
We do.
And you want to save face, don't you? Imagine, you know, like.
But I guess it's drawing the line, isn't it?
Imagine at a concert, and the singer says, can I get a hell yeah or something, you know? And the crowd just go, it's that, oh my God, you want the world to swallow you up, you know? So you put out a thing being like, this is my new business, is anyone interested? And you get no nibbles. And it's like,
yeah.
But these are the things that everyone who's starting something out has to go through. I think
100%.
where it was different for me is that I had 10 years training experience, and I was sort of quite known for being a gym guy, whatever the hell that means. But I think that really helped.
Yeah.
I think it gave me a little bit of credibility. I'd done 3 shows, and I was prepping for my next show as well. And it just, I don't know, it made things like mesh a bit more. And I'm talking now, and I'm sort of skipping over it fairly fast, but we're talking over the course of like a year, and there was a million doubts that I had.
Yeah.
Quite literally, I was like, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. But over the course of a year, it gained a little bit of momentum. And before you know it, I was actually equaling my wages. So my wages I was getting for my day job, I was actually equaling that from the side.
So you were still in your day job at this. You were still in your day job at this point.
This was about March 2016, 5 years ago. So I was still in my day job and I was equaling my wages. But here's the issue: I was working and I was on my phone, like attending to clients. And my manager called me in, and he was like, right, this ain't gonna work. You need to do one or the other. And I was like, but again, the fear was just taking over. The fear was massive.
That's it. That fear of change, thinking I can't make a living from this. You know, how dare I make a living from something that I'm so passionate about?
How dare I enjoy myself and make money from it? How dare I? Yeah. In life, we feel like if it's not a struggle and we're not like just getting by, then it's no good. And also, and I'm sure you can relate to this as well, people around you in your ear, it's never going to work. It's never going to work. My parents were like, no. And some of my close friends were like,
I've just got a little head in it. It just says naysayers, you know, because I know you love that quote. It's an Arnold Schwarzenegger quote. And you know, I remember your mum, you know, saying you can't make a viable business out of this. Your dad saying, I can't understand how people would pay for your knowledge online.
No,
you know, not knowing actually the magnitude of passion and drive that you had behind it. And now, I mean, it must feel absolutely fantastic to be able to sort of, I mean, it's not about gloating, and it's not about, you know, I told you so. It's about looking at yourself in the mirror and going, do you know what? I followed my passion. I followed my and I found a purpose in that.
James, I can't even, I struggle to even put into words. I think that the thing is, it's all of those doubts. Plus, if you think about my past, I failed at everything I did because I just didn't really give a shit. And my parents were very, very dubious. And the reason being is because of who I was. You know, I was a drug taking, partying, never took life seriously. You know, I wasn't really someone that you could respect, to be honest. So I understand their dubious thoughts, but
yeah,
it was just, I took the leap and I thought to myself, I'm already earning this much money. If I really apply myself, I can make it work. I had my doubts, but I thought I'm going to go for it. And I did. And it was April 2016. So my 5-year anniversary is coming up next month. And
awesome.
I don't know, mate.
That's great.
And I can honestly say this. It's been the best 5 years of my life. Truly.
That's awesome, mate.
Truly.
Well done, mate.
I appreciate it, man.
Really happy for you.
Thank you so much, man. And don't get me wrong, it hasn't been all rosy and it hasn't been all fantastic, but it's just been, but now when I can be at this point and look back, it's, I mean, it's pretty good.
So there was a few things you said in there, and one of the things that sort of stands out is, I mean, you love bodybuilding, you love everything around it. You know, I know that you love the discipline for it. You know, the shows that go along with it, and I would imagine that, you know, the helping people as well, right? You get a big kick out.
It's amazing.
Now, I mean, is it safe to say, I mean, if it wasn't bodybuilding, would you be as happy? I mean, and what I'm trying to get at here is purpose. Do you feel that you've the reason why you've been so successful and you're so happy and so content in what you do, is because you've actually found your calling, your purpose.
No question about it at all. There is zero doubt in my mind that I am doing the thing that I should be doing. So
yeah,
people quite often will say to me, they're being really, really nice. They say, fair play, mate, fair play. Like, oh my God, fair play for your discipline. And I take the compliment, and it's awesome. Thank you very much. However, I don't see it as fair play. Like, okay, you fish. When you go fishing, and if someone would say, "Oh, fair play for going fishing," it's like, no,
no.
It's just
I do get that a lot, actually.
Yeah, but it's like when someone says to me, "Fair play for bodybuilding," it's like fair play for doing the thing that I love. I don't know. Like, I just don't see it as it's fucking so pleasurable every single day. I am so lucky to be able to do what I do. Like, really, really.
Like that old saying, isn't it? You know, you do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. You know,
Yeah.
and it's so true. You know, I know it's an old saying, and it's something you sort of your mum and dad would say, but it is so true.
I don't really have days off, but I don't feel like I need to, because it's just my life. I never feel like I need holidays. I never feel like I need time off. It's just enjoyable, mate. Honestly, and I sound like I'm like some Mary Poppins shit right now, but like, it is honestly. I feel very, very content with it, mate. Very, very content.
I don't think you sound like Mary Poppins. You just sound like someone, mate, who is incredibly happy and has found their true purpose and loves getting up every day to do what they do. Life is short, mate. And if there's anything the last couple of years has taught me, and especially COVID, mate, the last year, it's you've got to be happy with what you do. You know, we're not on this planet long enough to be doing things that we don't enjoy doing.
Absolutely.
And you know, I put a post up the other day, and it's questions that you know maybe you should be asking yourself when you're looking for that new job, or you're looking for new direction. And I thought about you today, and I thought, I know that if I asked you these questions, that bodybuilding and helping people would fit into all of those categories. I don't know if you saw the post, but you know, the questions were: what is it you love doing? What is it you're good at? What is it the world needs? And what is it I can be paid for? And what you do fits into every single one of those categories.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, like, I don't know what it is. And maybe it's an English thing, or maybe it's just, I don't know. It's like, we feel like we have to be struggling. Like, I know people personally who almost feel guilty for having fun. Like even my dad. So when I go and see my parents, he'll be like, like he would mock what I do, like tongue in cheek, because obviously he loves me and he's very proud of me, but he'll mock what I do. And it's like, and then he'll tell me how he's done 60 hours this week and he's been really stressed, and it's almost like a badge of honor for him that he's done that.
Yeah. Oh, I've had such a hard day, and I was up at 4 o'clock this morning. I didn't get home till 11 o'clock at night. It's like,
yes, they say it like a badge of honor. They're like, honestly, you should see how hard I work this week. I've been so stressed, and I'm thinking, well, I haven't, but I'm not. You know what? I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm not going to apologize.
No.
For that. Like, I've had a good week, and I've enjoyed myself, and I smiled, and it was, you know, like, again, I sound Mary Poppins, like, but generally day to day, I try not to stress myself. And actually, I don't want to go down a big tangent now, but I try not to talk about COVID as well, because I just find that it doesn't bring me any joy.
Yeah.
I just try and park it away. I acknowledge that it's there, but I don't give it too much energy. And I just put my energy in things that make me happy.
Absolutely, mate. I talk about this a lot, and it's like what you think, you feel. It's the same as if you keep telling yourself you're inadequate, you keep telling yourself you're not gonna succeed, you're in the wrong, then guess what? You ain't gonna succeed.
Hey, do you know what,
mate? Do you know what I mean? You tell yourself that enough times, you will believe it yourself.
It's so true. And the friends that you have and the people that you have in your circle, so to speak, that's a reflection as well. So if you're around, like, again, naysayers, or if you're around negative people, then you're going to be negative yourself. So to go back to like when I first started out, again, and you were there, I used to get invited to nights out, and I used to, you know, then the invite stopped. but that's because I was changing. And I used to hear on the grapevine, people would be like, oh, Mackins has changed. Mackins has changed. And I used to think to myself, yeah, I have. And I'm fucking happy about that as well. It was never. So what I'm trying to get at in long and short is, I feel like I was around people that were just taking drugs and being in circles that I didn't want to be in. So I just removed myself. So as you said, like the things that you think become like reality. The things that you're doing day to day become your everyday reality. So instead, I just removed myself from it and did this. So
I think, yeah, your environment is crucial. You know, your environment is almost what you will become if you allow it.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of the environment in which you will flourish in, you know, and we all know which environments we flourish in and which ones we don't. And the same way as we all know which company we will flourish in and which we don't.
You keep like crashing, but basically I did hear what you said, but you keep crashing. You're as good as your five closest friends, right?
Yeah, I would talk about being time rich, what that means for you, because I mean, I think people undervalue time. They think they should be working every hour of the day.
Yeah, again, it goes back to
justify something.
It goes back to that thing of like bragging about how many hours you've done this week or whatever. And I think to myself, like, is that in the Western world? It's almost like we think that that's what we should be doing. We should be sitting at a desk until 7, 8 at night, being stressed. And I don't know, like, is that really the gold standard? So when I first started doing this, I was earning pretty well, and I was earning probably the same as what I earned from my old job. And it was good and it was sustaining me. But what I realized was all of a sudden I could wake up when I wanted and within reason, obviously. And I didn't have to work on someone else's schedule, and I could plan my day as and when I wanted. And honestly, I can't even, it was fantastic. And I'm able to sort of work on my own schedule and do what I want when I want, again, within parameters. I'm not just like completely carefree. And it's worth so much more money than people realize. And as I say, I think we're obsessed in the Western world by long hours and like stress and like as if that's a good thing. It's like, no, I don't know. So what this job has enabled me to do is,
things have changed.
But yeah, this job's just enabled me to something I'm really, really passionate about, which is amazing. But it's also given me more time, and it's invaluable, mate. It's invaluable.
I can definitely see where you're coming from. I mean, I've been victim of that, you know, working long hours, and then you almost seek for significance. So you will tell people how busy you are, how miserable you are, how tired you are, and then you think, well, what am I trying to achieve from this? And I think it's just pure significance. You know, our parents' age and people of that era are so guilty of that.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, we live in a different era. Our parents' generation for sure had a different an outlook on this kind of thing. And my parents, by their own admission, they used to say to me, there was two ways to make money. You either go on a building site or you know, a manual job, or you work in an office. That's it. So it was completely alien to them to realize that there's this new age where you can make money from doing things like what I do. And there are plenty of jobs just like mine where you know you can make money that don't involve an office or a building site. And
yeah,
I understand that if you have to work long hours, you have to work long hours. So I don't want to seem like I'm being an arsehole about that and short-sighted, but as I say, I feel like people wear it as a badge of honor, as if it's something that you should be aspiring to. And I don't know, that's just not my mindset. I don't think that I would be a happy person if I was working all the hours under the sun, stressed out of my face every single day. I don't know. And the reason why that's relevant, because somebody might hear this and say, well, it's not, I've got no choice, that's my job. Well, you have got a choice, because everything's a choice. It's not like there's not a gun to your head saying you must work this job. So actually, I don't agree that you have got a choice. And if you're choosing to do that job, then that's it.
I mean, you can say they're wrong if they're moaning about it, they don't enjoy it. Then, I mean, there's people that go to work and they don't I mean, maybe they're not being honest with themselves, but I know I've definitely spoken to people that don't mind working until 11 o'clock at night and walking through the door at midnight and not seeing their kids. You know, there are people who, again, whether or not they're actually being honest with themselves is a totally different story. But, you know, there are people who do enjoy it. And it's not saying that you don't work hard at what you do, because I know that you do. You just work smart, you know, and there's a big difference there between working hard and working smart, because one can be really reckless and you know, we spend with your loved ones, your kids, which is big, you know, and I don't think people really sort of value, you know, to take that into consideration.
I was going to say that, work smart, not hard. So my dad tells me about how, you know, he's done this many hours, and I'm like, well, I didn't do that many hours. Like, so, like, who won here? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to one up me because you've done more hours than me? I just don't see it myself, mate. I definitely work hard, and it's taken me 15, 16 years in the gym to be here, and I've now been in my job 5+ years. Well, the 5-year anniversary of when I actually quit my job. But yeah, it didn't fall on my lap, that's for sure. You know, I have worked hard to get here, but I'm not prepared to spend my best years just drilling myself into the ground. Whereas actually, this is something I've learned from my parents. So my dad is now 58 years old. And since he turned about 56, he finally realized that he doesn't want to work himself into the ground, and actually he wants to enjoy his life a bit more. When he was in his 30s, he would do all the extra hours, and he would do all that. And I get it, he had a family to support, and that's admirable. And I couldn't have wished for better parents. I really couldn't. But by his own admission, he used to work himself to the point where he was just not that happy. And I don't know if I'm prepared to do that. And again, I don't know if I shouldn't apologize for that.
Especially for something that doesn't sort of like fall in line with your values and your needs and what you want for yourself. I mean, if it's not your purpose and it's not your why and it's not what you want to be doing every day and it doesn't give you a reason to get up in the morning, why the hell would you burn yourself out doing something that you don't enjoy? It just doesn't make any sense.
I feel like, again, some people might hear this and think, well, it's my job. How do you expect me to put food on the table? And I understand what they're saying, but there is still a choice. And I'm not saying don't work, and I'm not saying don't provide for your family. I'm saying there is a choice. And if you're working yourself into the ground and then other things fall apart in your life, your mental health, or even your relationships and stuff, like, I don't know. It's just something that I'm not prepared to do. And I don't think that it should be worn as a badge of honor just because you're working your ass off all the time.
No, because I mean, if you think about it, you're kind of gloating that you're unbalanced. You know, when you actually when you put it down like that, it's like I'm literally going around saying, "Look at me, my life is a little bit lopsided. I'm a bit unbalanced at the moment," and it's not. But I think a lot of the time, it's not always people trying to be proud of it. I think they're just trying to look for a little bit of significance and want people to reconfirm that what they're doing is the right thing. Because I think deep down inside, they actually know that it's probably not right.
Well, that's the thing. So, like,
I think that's
like, does your job fulfill you? And I think most people, it doesn't, does it? And that's a shame. And the reality of the situation is,
it's a real shame.
It is a shame, but the reality of the situation is that most people aren't going to be able to do a job that they want. Because if we all did a job that we want, we'd have everyone playing professional football, astronauts, firefighters. There wouldn't be anyone working in Tesco stacking shelves. There wouldn't be any dustbin men. But the reality is that that's not reality, okay? But then on the same token, I don't think that you should apologize for seeking out a job that fulfills you and makes you happy. You know what I'm saying?
100%. 100%. When we're talking about purpose, we don't need, I mean, we're not saying, okay, when I was younger, I wanted to be an astronaut or I wanted to be David Beckham, you know, that's not, for me, purpose. That's a pipeline dream that you had when you were a kid. And actually, there will be professional footballers and people with so-called dreamy jobs that won't be happy because they're not actually, their needs aren't being met. Their human needs, you know, everyone has there's pretty much the same needs, but we all sort of value them in different orders. They may seem happy on the outside, but they're not actually meeting their needs. And, you know, you've only got to look at some of the richest people in the world. And yeah, okay, they're rich, but a lot of them still seek counseling and they still see life coaches because they're not happy.
I mean, if you were to, I don't have any actual scientific data to back this up, but I mean, do you honestly believe that the people who are working, let's say, mundane jobs, are they any less happy than people who are like CEOs of company? I don't know. Like, you've got money and you can go and buy a yacht and you can go on holidays, etc., etc. But the human need is quite often more deep than that. And it's not just about
100%.
material possessions. Happiness. In fact, depression rates are arguably higher in more developed countries, right? Because we have more, and therefore we start feeling a bit like inadequate when people, you know, like keeping up with the Joneses kind of mentality.
Because your level of expectation is different.
Exactly, yeah. So if at your 18th birthday you bought a Ferrari, for example, as one of your first cars or whatever, by the time you're 30, what are you expecting? Like your level's been set, and it sort of almost sets you up for failure. So it's almost better to have less, which sounds really weird, but like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like,
no, but I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah, you understand what I'm on about. It's almost like you want to have a good balance rather than extreme one way or the other.
Yeah, I've seen it myself. Like when I went traveling to find myself, I there was a big flood and very cool. There was a big flood in Thailand, and they had loads and loads of rainfall. They had like a year's worth of rainfall in like a week. It was just ridiculous. And I remember being on this coach, and we were traveling along this road, and the fields were just, I mean, I couldn't believe the height of this water. You could just see the rooftops of these houses. Wow. And they're all sat on top of their rooftops, these Thai families, and they're playing cards or checkers or whatever. And as the coach goes by, they're all there and they're all waving and they're smiling and waving. And I'm thinking, how? You know, your house is like 10 foot underwater and you're playing checkers on a roof, waving to a strange Caucasian, a Westerner who's trying to take a, and it's just madness.
Man,
but it kind of makes you think, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so what, like there'll be people in the Western world who have got like everything going for them, and they'll be depressed because their social media has people who have got more than them on there, you know. And so there'll be someone who's got everything and they've never struggled a day in their life, but their social media is full of attractive women and they feel inadequate when they look at that. And then on the flip side of that, you've got someone who literally has to walk 10 miles to get a bit of water. And one of them's depressed and one of them's just cracking on. And you're like, what? So happiness doesn't just come from happiness. Mate, doesn't just come from money. So you've got people who are working jobs that pay a lot of money, but are they happy? I don't know.
Yeah, that's great, man. I'm really glad you went on to social media, because the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, you are so open when it comes to steroids and the use of steroids, right? And I guess my question is to you is, you know your brand, okay? You know you, and you know what you're about, and I love that. And I think that has really helped your success. Do you think being as open as you have done about certain issues has been a good thing, or has it been detrimental to the business?
That is a good one. Undoubtedly, there will be people who hear the word steroids and they see me talk about it and they'll be immediately put off. I'm not so naive to think that wouldn't happen. However, the feedback that I physically hear and read and see for myself is that they like that I am so honest, and even to the point where I'm honest, even if it puts myself down. I'm not afraid to sort of bare my scars, so to speak, you know, and I don't know what the word, just I'm like an open book. And I think one of the things that the bit of feedback that I hear is that I'm so open that it's actually people can relate to it. And the thing is, the reality is as well, there's a lot of people taking steroids, and again, they kind of like the fact that you're so open about it, and they don't necessarily want to be open themselves, but they like that you are. So I think that the feedback that I've got personally is that it's been good, but there's no doubt about it that it divides the audience so like dramatically. I should imagine there's a lot of people who are just like, you know.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be steroids, it could be anything, any kind of controversial topic when someone can just be themselves. Coaching is such a personal business. You know, you're dealing with people, you're dealing with people's problems, with people's struggles, and you know, it is a one-on-one personal business. And I think when you've got a story like yours and you can be totally honest and people can buy into that, it's a beautiful thing. But I also think that when you can be as open as you are about steroids and give people the facts and not sort of brush it under the carpet or try and fluff it up, people will buy into you a lot more because they trust you. And B, I think when you're building your audience, and this is good, I think this will be key for anyone that's starting a new online business, is you don't want 10,000 followers following you that don't care about or don't buy into you and don't buy into what you're about, because the chances are, I mean, you would have lost a lot of the following from that, but you would have gained a lot, but you would have gained the right audience. And actually the audience that were going to be converted, you know, into sales and into signing up to your program, but also ones that are actually going to put the effort in because they understand what you're about. You've put it all on the table. You've created this brand that you stand by, which screams honesty and integrity. And you know, I just think that there's no point having 2,000 followers that don't agree with what you say, because they're never going to buy your product. And I think that's really, really important for people starting out. Don't try and pretend to be someone that you're not.
Yeah.
Because when they find out that you're not that person, they're not going to buy anything from you.
That's so true. I think it's like a natural filter. So as you just said, it's like the people that weren't relevant to me and weren't going to buy into me, it got rid of them naturally. They go on their way and I go on my way, and that's all good. And the people that gravitated towards it, that's my audience. And I think one of the reasons why I initially did it, because I thought to myself, the kind of person that I want to buy into, if it was me parting with my money, I want someone to be honest and upfront. And if I feel like they're deceiving me, I don't want it. So I just thought to myself, the kind of person that I want to buy into would do that. So I thought to myself, be an open book. Some people will like it. Well, you know, again, I've known you forever. I'm not necessarily everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You don't want to be everyone's cup of tea. If you don't like it, that's okay. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
There's a lot of people on this earth without, you know, we don't need to please everyone. And this was really important for me when I was starting out, okay? And when I was trying to find my demographic, and I was sat with actually one of my coaches, and he said and I said, he was like, you know, who's your audience? You know, who do you want to appeal to? And you know, I've come up with the slogan, the mission statement, building mindset muscle for millennials, because that's generally, you know, the people that I want to help, the demographic that I want to help. I think I understand them a lot more than I would anyone else. I've lived as a millennial and I still am. So what better person to coach millennials than a millennial, right? So, but I said to him, is that not going to pigeonhole me? You know, does that not mean the over 40s aren't going to come in and want it? And he said, do you care? And I thought, and I caught of it and I thought, no, I'm not going to lose sleep because I'm not going to get clients over 40 or over 50 years old. You know, there's a lot of people on this earth, and surely quality is better than quantity, right?
Mate, this is a real big one, right? A friend of mine actually says, when I first met him, he said, I hate lukewarm people. That was his expression. Anyone who's lukewarm, they're on the fence about everything. I would rather be disliked for who I am rather and be about something and have opinions rather than just trying to appease to everyone and worrying about offending people and stuff like that. So yeah, pick your audience, and if not everyone likes it, okay, so be it. And I think it's really important to have brand identity and to have a direction rather than just sort of out there for everyone. That's my opinion, and by the sounds of it, that's kind of like the direction you're going as well.
Absolutely. Mate, I absolutely love this. Thank you so much for your time today. And I know that seems weird, me saying that, because you're one of my best.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, mate.
I really do appreciate your time, mate. And obviously, I said that we were going to do this today on socials, and we got a few people asking questions who are looking maybe to start their own online business.
I've got a couple of questions as well.
The first one was from Insta, and the name's Big Daddy B. I'm not sure if you know who he is.
Yeah, I do know who he is, actually. Yeah,
I don't know.
He's got a food page.
You do? Okay. Yes, that's it. Brilliant. Well, shout out to Big Daddy B, by the way.
Big Daddy BS Foods.
So his question was, so there's a free plug for him. So his question was, what flicked the switch in your head to start training and eating more religiously than just going through the motions of training and partying every day? Or not every day, but partying, you know.
I know I can literally pinpoint the exact moments. So basically, excess is the reason. There were so many times, and I'm just going to be completely honest, and I know it makes me sound a certain way, but it is what it is. There were many 10 o'clock in the morning moments where I'm, you know, done too many drugs, and I'm looking up at the ceiling and I'm thinking to myself, why? What am I doing? And having no money in my bank account and just sort of bumbling through life without a proper direction. And there were so many moments where the penny was dropping, and it kept dropping, and it kept dropping, and I'd find myself 10 a.m. here I am again, 10 a.m. here I am again, and I'm like, what am I doing? So there was just a moment, basically just doing that too much. And as I say, I can pinpoint the exact mornings. And I said to myself, New Year's Eve 2014, I said to myself, this is the one. From 2015 onwards, I'm not going to be this guy anymore. And I knew, because if I had said that to someone, they would have gone, yeah, see you next week. You know, they wouldn't have believed me. But I knew in my head that that was it. Enough was enough. And I always wanted to be a bodybuilder my whole life. So it just went hand in hand, mate. So as soon as I made that switch, I started training. I started tracking my food. I started writing down everything I was eating. And it led me to this point. And it was, So the answer is excess.
It's almost like a threshold, isn't it? You know, you get to that threshold, and it's like, you know, something's got to change. Yeah, and that it could be drugs, it could be being unhappy in a relationship. There's so many scenarios that you can pin that on.
Imagine like an abusive relationship. You know, someone that they keep going back, and then they get hit, and they keep going back, and then finally there's a moment, and you go, enough.
There's that switch.
Enough. Yeah. And that happened to me basically because, in a nutshell, I overdid it.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, mate. The next one is from Emma Marston. What motivates you every day to do what you do?
Passion. Again, you know me forever, and I think you can attest to this as well. I've always wanted to be a bodybuilder. It wasn't. It's not something that I've just adopted over the last few years. I always wanted to be one. I did, always. Even as a kid, I was obsessed by muscular men, which my mum thought I might be gay, because I was always obsessed with muscular men. But I'm just passionate about it. So I wake up every day and I couldn't imagine doing anything else. I
thought you were going to say you wake up every day thinking about muscular men then.
I do. I got posters all on my wall and shit, you know. No, from a young age, I knew. The only reason I didn't do it sooner is because I had to do all my party years and all that shit. But yeah, passion. Yeah. Every day I wake up passionate.
Awesome. And lastly, Jason from Facebook. So he wants to start an online PT business. I guess he's probably been affected by not being able to train people firsthand in the gyms. He wants to go online, but he's just scared re-COVID. So what piece of advice could you give to someone like Jason who just wants to make a start but doesn't, is a little bit apprehensive, but also not really sure what the first steps would be?
Okay, so again, I don't claim to be an expert. I claim that I know what I did. So what I would say is, people don't just like results. So people are very visual. So I used to post my own lifts. The fact that I could lift more than the average guy made me stand out a little bit more. And one could argue, well, what's that got to do with coaching? It hasn't. But what it does is it creates an audience. So if you are a PT who's, I'm going to talk really honest now. I'm going to be really, really honest.
Good, man. This is what this is all about.
Oh, man, but I feel bad. So if you're a PT and your average build and your average strength and you're not really an extrovert, your personality is kind of, dare I say it, average as well, you don't stand out. And unfortunately, online probably won't work for you. That's the reality of the situation.
Get swallowed up.
Yeah, because with respect, there is a dozen of you within a 10-mile radius. What makes you stand out? So from my own experience, again, I sound like I'm like blowing my own trumpet right now. I could outlift everyone locally, bar maybe a couple of people. There's probably someone watching going, I can outlift him. But I was quite strong, shall we say, and I had I'd done pretty well in my competition, so it made me stand out above people. And I think unless you've got that, I do think you're going to struggle to go online. So what I'm trying to say is make yourself stand out, give yourself USPs.
I was just about to say, would it be fair, Ryan, to say this is USP? But you've just told that.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you lay it straight down the line. So if I was to soften this up a little bit, you don't have to be the strongest in the room.
No.
You don't have to be the biggest in the room. And you don't actually have to be the most knowledgeable in the room.
Nope.
But what you do need to have is originality, and you need to have a USP, and you need to believe in that USP, that you are different than everyone else, and you can offer something that no one else can.
That's it, mate. And yeah, so you've softened it up, and I'm going to take it hard again. How many PTs in pure gym are just run of the mill? They're just run of the mill.
Yeah.
And if you are one of those, you will be swallowed up and people won't be buying into you. You need to have a reason for people to buy into you. And if you haven't, it won't work. So I don't know what it means. Interpret this how you will, but make yourself stand out. Be it with your personality. As you say, you don't need to be the biggest personality. You don't need to be hilarious. You don't need to be super strong, but just make yourself stand out. Whatever that means to you, do that.
Perfect. I love that. I really do.
Yeah, man.
And you've been criticized before about telling people how it is and being a little bit too strong. But Ryan, I think you owe a lot of that to your success.
Yeah.
The other way around, rather.
Yeah,
You're successful because of that.
Yeah, I mean, and as I say, I don't.
That's your USP.
Yeah, and for sure, not everyone's going to like you, and not everyone's going to buy into you. So what? You're not trying to appeal to everyone, but make yourself stand out compared to the next 10 PTs. And if you don't, then unfortunately for you, you're going to get forgotten. Do you walk in a room and are you forgotten within 5 minutes? I know that's really harsh. And as I say, I'm probably not going to get any fans for saying that, but it's the truth.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you find your like we were talking about demographic earlier. So you find your demographic, then you use your USP within that demographic.
Absolutely. But that doesn't mean that there's not going to be someone else watching going, ugh, no thanks. Of course there are. And you'd be foolish to think you're going to please everyone. You shouldn't be trying to please everyone. As you say, find your demographic and just go for it.
That was a piece of gold right there, mate. I love that.
Nugget.
So that's all questions on my side. Did you say you've got a few questions that came
I've got
through
a couple.
socials?
Maybe I'll pick the best. Tell us about your modelling days? I used to model. That's about it. I don't want to talk about that. What would you do differently?
I think we'll leave Apollo Nights for another time.
Yeah. Well, what would you do differently? It's corny, but I probably wouldn't do it differently because it led me to the point I'm at. I think I needed to be the guy I was before to be this guy now. I don't know.
The fall to go up.
Yeah, I'd be foolish to say. I wish I'd switched on a bit sooner. I wish that I hadn't waited till I was 26 to have my epiphany moment. But then again, how much fun did we have, mate?
We had loads of fun, mate.
Yeah,
really
so
memories for life.
I don't really regret it because actually I don't want to just be the guy who's like bench press, protein, you know. I lived a life of excess before, and actually it's molded my personality and it's made me who I am. And maybe that's one of the reasons why people buy into me. So yeah, it's a bit of a cliche answer, but I don't think that I would change it because it led me to this point. So yeah, I don't think I'll do it differently.
Brilliant. Excellent. Right, mate. I think we'll end it there. Unless you've got another one or
no. Another one of the questions was we've kind of already covered it, mate. So no, that's all good.
I'll let you answer them in your own time anyway. You can give them a message later. So, but I just wanted to say, mate, I'm so grateful for you for coming on, sharing your knowledge. I mean, I know I've definitely had some takeaways from this, and I'm sure anyone that watches this will definitely have some takeaways from it. I mean, you're living proof that if you follow your passion and you find your purpose and you work hard at it every day, you can live that life that you want. You can be happy. You can get up in the morning and want to go to work, and you can have that balance. You know,
I never thought that this would be my reality. I never thought that I'd be in this position. I honestly, I didn't. But it took a risk, and it took perseverance, and it took some hard work, and I'm here. But I really didn't think that this is how my life would pan out. You, as I say, you knew me before. There's no way I thought this was how it was going to be. There's no way.
I did, yeah.
There was no way. But yeah, it took a massive risk, mate. Yeah. It took a massive risk, and thankfully it paid off.
Mate, like I say, I've seen you grow for the last 6 years. I'm massively proud of you. And, I can't wait to see what happens going forward, where this is going to keep going for you. And I know that people will definitely have something to take away from this, and something that they can put into practice, regardless if they're even starting a coaching business. I mean, there are so many little nuggets of gold, I think, in this conversation that people can utilize and use in their everyday lives.
I think there's a lot of parallels, man. There's a lot of parallels.
100%, mate.
Life, yeah. I just want to say the same to you, mate. I don't know at what stage you're at. Bearing in mind, we spoke, I think maybe 6 months ago, maybe a bit more. Keep at it. I love that you're doing this, and I can see from your Instagram that you're more and more active. Keep at it. Build that portfolio. Keep going. Because before you know it, you'll be a year down the line, and you'll think, thank fuck I started when I did. And if somebody, it's not about creating an echo chamber where everyone just says, wow needle. But if there is negative energy and people naysaying you, so to speak, just cut it off. Just cut it off. Do what makes you happy, mate. And by the looks of things, you are. And I'm really, really proud of that for you as well.
Mate, yeah. Thank you, mate. So, I mean, this was our first ever on the couch with, and I think it went pretty well. I mean, we put it out and we'll see what happens. It might be the first and only one. And if it is, then I totally blame you for that. But,
it'd be my fault. No, mate, but no, mate, honestly, it's a pleasure to talk to you, mate. Honestly,
thank you, mate.
We go back forever, so it's just easy,
Cool. Brilliant, mate. All right, well, that's it for now, and I'll speak to you later on. All right.
Catch you later, man.